Hello there, welcome to Junk Journal with me, or as it should more commonly be known, when did the bomb hit your table, Moira? First of all, an apology. I'd actually planned on doing a bit of this yesterday, but I really wasn't worth a button, quite frankly. The Wayne, which is what we call our youngsters, the Wayne, my boy, who isn't that young. I mean, he's 24 in a couple of weeks' time. He had come to me the other day to say, could you get me a doctor's appointment when I get back from Edinburgh? He's currently working in Edinburgh at the Edinburgh Royal Military Tattoo, and he'd happened to stay. Normally he comes back at night and I go and get him with my husband at midnight, pick him up from the train to bring him back to where we live. And he had decided to stay with the girlfriend who, sorry, there's a wee blue bottle flying about, probably appearance my video. He had decided to stay overnight with a girlfriend in Edinburgh and was coming back yesterday at lunchtime, so I was to get him an appointment for the afternoon with the doctors, because there was something that he was a wee bit concerned about. And all you need to do with me is mention you're a wee bit concerned about something and I'll have you buried. I really can't cope very well at all with ill health, certainly not of my child, or my husband, or my brother, or my sister, or my other brother. It's a hangover from when my first husband died, because obviously the whole crux of things in that instance was he had a brain tumour that went undiagnosed until 3 weeks before he died, and it went undiagnosed because the doctor that we had at the time was absolutely convinced that it was in fact his headaches were down to being a bit of depression. And it had nothing to do with depression at all. There was obviously a physical issue, and it culminated in him being admitted to a psychiatric hospital, by which time he had to go by ambulance because he was like somebody in very advanced Parkinson's disease. And the chap in the psychiatric hospital took one look at him and says, I'm going to send you to the hospital at the time was the Southern General in Glasgow. He got sent there and had a brain scan, and within an hour I was told that he had a tumour and a cyst, and the cyst they could drain, but the tumour was inoperable because of its location and size, and they anticipated his lifespan to be in weeks rather than months, and they were right, because 3 weeks and a day later he died. And I was left devastated by this. No matter how many years pass, no matter how much my life might have changed, at the bottom of it all, this lives with me every day, and it has knock-on effects on everything, and is probably one of the main causes from my extreme anxiety and consequent depression, and I know that. But knowing it does not alter it, does not enable you to control it in any fashion. It simply takes complete and utter control, and at no point has anybody ever really been able, you know, for all the therapy in inverted commas and medications across the years, nothing seems to alter my thinking. So I live with this constant stress and anxiety thing. So yesterday, obviously, it really kind of went into hyperdrive because I was worried about my Wayne. He had it checked yesterday, the thing that was bothering him, and she said that it's fine. It's not dodgy in any fashion to leave it, unless it's really causing him a bit of discomfort, in which case she can tackle it or organise for it to be tackled. So basically I had a day and a half of utter hell, and I just wasn't worth a button. There was absolutely no point in trying to sit down to do anything, because while I want to address the anxiety and depression, there comes points when it's so severe that you can't. There's just nothing you can say. There's nothing. The dogs are playing, by the way, they're playing chases outside. I'd ordered a new ball for Daisy, which arrived this morning, and Daisy is running about with the ball and the other two are chasing her. Anyway, so there might be a wee bit of noise and then it'll all settle down. Now also what showed up in the post today, I'll show you this before we start junk journaling. I'd ordered some laces from eBay before I'd went into the I'm never making another junk journal thing. Now this might actually be very like the one I've already got, I don't know. Let's have a look at it when we open it out. Wait a minute, I've got a bit of the one I've got. Oh, it's exactly the same. I've ordered the same thing, haven't I? Yep, pretty much. Well, that's okay because I like it anyway. So I've ordered some more of that. And I wish I hadn't opened it now because now I've got to try and fold it up. Right, but I've got another one. Where did I put the bag? There it is. Ordered another one which I think might be similar but different. Well, it's different enough to be significant. It's up for grabs. Have a look at this. The lace is certainly, the sort of applique bit at the bottom's a different colour. Yeah, you can see that's quite different. It's nice. This is the chases in and out, and I'm going to get used to this. I just work away with this. I used to get really anxious when particularly when Timmy was very young, because I was convinced that he was going to get injured in some fashion when all this running about happened. But no, he's fairly sturdy and they just enjoy themselves, so who am I to put the mockers in that one? In fact, if you listen really closely, you can hear Timmy eating Daisy. Right, here's another wee one. Oh, got it the wrong way around. There we go. Quite nice. I'd ordered also some dies on AliExpress from a company called Alina Cuttle. And I started buying this girl's stuff on the basis of somebody else that made videos, card making videos. She had pointed out that Alina Cuttle, I think the girl's name is actually Alina, she gets her own designs, if you know what I mean. So like she'll commission folk to draw out the patterns of things she wants. So I got these wee dresses which are quite nice and might make an attractive wee die cut addition to a journal. And I got a couple of word dies because I really like word dies. I got thanks, and by the looks of things there's an outline comes with that so you can give it a kind of halo. And I got memories, although it's quite a big word, so that would need to go down the side of one of my pages, I would think. So there you go, that's some extra things to add to the junk journaling. Right, so let's get to the journal, or journal. Where did I put my pen? Did I put my pen? Don't tell me I put my pen away. My pen was lying on my desk yesterday. Oh no, they're alright, there it is. Don't tell me I put my pen away, as if I ever put anything away. I must admit, I'm really guilty of, when I'm making something, I literally just get up and walk away from it, and I leave everything until the next day and come, you know, just start again. So I thought, I know a lot of folk that do journals don't necessarily just work through them left to right sort of thing. So I thought what we might do is we'll maybe leave that page and use that for a smaller thing and work over these two pages today. So the first thing I want to do is I want to do a bit of decor on them so that, wait a minute, I'm going to take these out. I'll take these out just now so that when I go to write on them it doesn't stand up too much. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick some things on to kind of encourage us to start working on the page. I've got this massive bus ticket sticker. It's I noticed, actually, I've got quite a lot of bus tickets. I bought some bus tickets on eBay, and I bought some bus tickets from, well, bus ticket washi tape, if you like. And these, I don't think for an instant these bus tickets are vintage that I've bought. You know, I mean, they're sold as if they are, but I don't think they are. I think there's too many of them, you know, and they've all appeared recently. So, you know, it makes me think somebody's got a pattern somewhere and they're just knocking out hundreds of dies and the likes. That overhangs that a wee bit, so I'm going to just trim that down. Just the least wee bit. It's enough to get in the way. I just like a wee something on my page. Since I'm going to discuss what do you call it, depression, anxiety and whatever, I had prepared a couple of wee tags, and beyond the tag thing, it just some wee snippets of words that I wanted to include. And I've made a wee tag here that says, should I fear? Because that's what the anxiety is all about. It's fear of something. Fear of something that you can't control or you feel you can't control. And most times it's things you can't control. I know there's a lot of school of thought that says, should you be afraid? You know, you shouldn't really concern yourself about things that are beyond your control and only worry about what you can control. And that's, in theory, that's all very well, that it should be like that. But the bottom line is, see, when it's your life it's affecting, and there's something stopping. I'm wanting to tie this in a wee knot, I don't know if I'm going to manage it. And there's something stopping you from controlling your life, and it's so frustrating. You know, like when you rely on doctors to get things right and they don't, and that in itself, it's not a good feeling. Do you know what I mean? You, in life, there are people that need to take certain aspects from you, like the doctors who are responsible for ensuring your health when you go to see them, and they make mistakes, and that is very frustrating. I mean, obviously, don't get me wrong, not all doctors make mistakes. Some are absolutely wonderful, but some not so much. Some really shouldn't be getting paid for what they're doing because they're not doing it very well, and they seem to forget that they took a Hippocratic oath or whatever it is, that, you know, first of all, do no wrong. I think sometimes they are only human and they get jaded. I often, when I was saying to the Wayne yesterday, when he was going to the doctors, I'd made the appointment in the morning and it was with a doctor whose name I did not recognise, and I said to the receptionist when I made the appointment, oh, she's one of the new doctors, and the receptionist said, she's been here for 2 years. And I thought, but I've never seen her. You know, I don't really go to the doctors all that often, despite the fact that I don't have great health. You know, I go, try to deal with whatever it is that's up with me, and then you don't see me again for a couple of years until something else crops up. So, you know, in that respect, she was new to me. Wait a minute, I'm trying to, I want to try and get this. at the edge of the page, because it's just, that particular tag's just long enough and no more. I used double-sided tape to stick that down. This one says what I can control, and I'm going to stick that down here. I'll just use glue for this one, I think. Or I will use glue. It would help if I'd used glue that I could get into. I don't want this page to end up being really bleak, so I need to watch what I'm doing. I've still got some. These are, see all the things I'm using on these pages, by the way, these are things that I have I had them out on my desk to use in the last journal I made, but I just didn't use them because I really, do you know, there's nothing I hate more than having piles and piles of wee bits of paper lying all over my desk and in piles, because in my experience, quite often when I end up with piles of things like that, I can't remember what I've got in them, so more often than not I don't end up not using them, so they're not a lot of use to me if I do that. So hold on, it's all falling all over me. Put the dies out of the way. It's because the lace is quite big that I've bought. Right, I've got some music here. Quite like to put some music on this page. Now, I've got some leaves, which this page is all very green, isn't it? Wait a minute, what have I got in the way of? I've got some other wee stickers here, I might be able to add something else. That's quite nice. I think I'll add that there. So, I do not pretend to be a genius in resolving depression and anxiety, because I certainly can't control it in myself. What I would say is, it is unfortunately very easy to get swept up in worry. And should I fear? Yes. Should I fear everything? No, not necessarily. Fear in some respects keeps you alive, because fear generally speaking tries to help you to fight in its way. You know, like if yesterday when I felt I shut down completely, I knew I was going to the doctors, and I knew that in itself that wasn't going to make me feel any better. However, he does assure me that she she did examine him thoroughly and discussed it, and in an effort to put his mind at ease, he says to me, she googled it. And I went, she what? And I thought, good grief, if the doctor's got to google something. But she only googled it in as far as she was showing him images of similar things to prove to him that his was normal. As normal as normal can be when you're no normal. So, you know, that made me feel a bit better. In fact, I said to him, I says, so is she quite young? And he went, aye. And I says, well, that's good, because when doctors are young, they're not jaded. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes you get a doctor that, I mean, we've got a couple in the practice who are, you know, not old, but they've obviously been doing the job quite a number of years. And the problem is, when they're doing the job a number of years, they get a bit disillusioned with life, as indeed do we all as we get older. And when you get disillusioned, I don't think you put in the same degree of effort as you might have done when you were a younger person. You know, it does very much as you get older become a case of, well, it is just a job. It is just a job, but it's a job where these are people who are, responsible for keeping us alive. You know, and in that respect, it's a job, but it's a wee bit more than a job. You know, what your actions determine whether or not I'll ever die. I remember when my father died. I was quite young when my father died. I was 14, and he had a massive heart attack in the house when I was in, as was my mother, and ambulance came and went to hospital, and unfortunately never came back. But the doctor at that time came to our house the next day, and I remember him sitting saying to my mother, you know, I would really wonder if I'd had him admitted when he first was showing signs that he was likely to have a heart attack, if he would have survived. And I thought, see, if you're questioning that, you failed. Your job is to keep people alive, not to swither about whether or not to keep them alive. It's to keep them alive. And I think, you know, going back to when I was like 14, when this happened, again, it's one of these things that clearly stays with you forever, in terms of you thinking, well, you know, how much faith can I really put in these people to look after me? Because if you don't get the right doctor, you're kind of goosed, quite frankly. So should I fear? Yes. Yes, you should fear. Maybe not fear everything. Maybe try not to lose all perspective the way I have. Well, that's not true. I haven't lost all perspective. I do still have a measure of perspective in life. But be aware that people make mistakes, and if you feel, now that I'm not older, if I feel, having been through what I've been through in life, and having seen things the way they work out, if I feel I'm not getting the degree of care and compassion and thoughtfulness that I should be getting, then yes, I will question, quite vocally I might add, I will question. In fact, I had a letter to the doctors. They have a practice manager, and I sent her a letter not that long ago saying, look, you know, I'm getting a bit sick of this. That my husband is, you know, the current Mr. Moira. I tell him that to keep him on his toes. He really doesn't keep very good health, and when I put in his prescriptions, invariably there are issues getting them back. You know, like there'll be something missing for the prescription, and then I've got to go back in and question it. Then I've got to sit. Now, my favourite thing with the doctors is whenever you go in and speak to the receptionist about something in the prescription that's missing, they'll turn and go, right, well I'll get that resent through to the doctor, so we'll get a response to that tomorrow. And you feel like saying, I'm not prepared to wait a day. Why does everything take an extra day when you question anything? And this seems to happen quite regularly, so I sent a letter in to the practice manager to vocalise my concern on this matter. And the lassie phoned me, and she was really nice. And I says to her, do you know something? I says, we call folk hen. I says, listen hen, don't get me wrong. I know you're doing your job, but can you appreciate where I'm coming from? Because this is my life, and if this gets messed up, it's my life that it impacts. I says, I honestly feel so desperately frustrated when I speak to anybody in the practice that they might as well finish each sentence with, and there's nothing you can do about that. Because that's what it's like. It's as if they control everything and I have no control. And if there's one thing I don't handle very well, it's not having control of situations. I do get really annoyed and frustrated because I know, well, I know right. Do you know what I mean? I am the one who gets it correct. And I get really wound up that folk don't listen to me. That's what it's like, do you know what I mean? You feel as if folk don't listen to you, and you know what's right and wrong for you and your family, and they're meant to be doing a job, and as far as you can see, they're not doing that job very well. I think that really frustrates me, because I'm conscious of the fact that when I had my boy Alec all those years ago, I decided to give up work because, quite frankly, things weren't working out for me childcare wise. Childcare was quite expensive and it wasn't very good. You were paying money to people who really weren't making that great an effort with your child. He was always quite sickly, always, whenever he ate, you invariably got back whatever he ate. It subsequently turned out that he did have an issue with reflux acid. Of course, that in itself took long enough to get resolved, because this was a different doctor, right? I remember I went to see her, or the doctor I had at the time, and she says to me, she goes, you know, he's just that happy looking. I find it hard to believe there's anything wrong with him. And that was, because of that, she didn't want to refer him to get anything assessed. Eventually she did, and it turned out to be a reflux acid problem. And again, even that didn't go very smoothly, because you get a wee kind of sensor-like tube put through your nose down into your stomach, and you stay overnight in hospital. And I stayed with him, because I mean, he was only seriously about 18 months old or something at the time. And when we got the results back for the hospital, it was a case of, well, it looks as if the probe was picking up reflux acid, but it hadn't gone deep enough into his stomach, so we'd like to do it again. And I said, wait a minute, I says, See if it didn't go deep enough into his stomach, but you were getting a response to suggest that sorry, the camera cut out there, to get a reflux acid reading. That would suggest to me that the reflux acid is bad enough to rise up his esophagus. And the doctor went, well, yes. And I says, well, so why do we need to do it again? Because if you've assessed that there is an issue, surely we can just now start to treat it. So that's what they did, and he went on to infant Gaviscon and was as right as rain. So anyway, I stopped working because childcare really wasn't very good, and I was forever home with my child until he was about 5, and I thought maybe time to find a wee job. I could not get back in. Shh. Timmy, we stay. Timmy! Timmy will have heard a dog barking in miles away. Anyway, I couldn't get back into the line of work I'd been in. I'd been working in homelessness, and I'd had quite a reasonable, high-powered job, if you like. But the problem is, life had changed. While my life had changed, and I couldn't get back into work. So I ended up in a series of just wee menial part-time jobs, working in shops and whatever. Not that I'm degrading working in shops, that's fine, but it's just, it wasn't what I had been doing, so it seemed quite different for me. And that was it. I did things like that. I worked in some call centres and whatever. I absolutely hated working in call centres because it was basically sales environments, and I'm not a pushy sales type person, especially not when it's something that I feel folk really don't need. And just jobs I didn't like at all, which is why eventually there comes a day when you think, no, I've had enough of this. I'd sooner just no bother. I'll go back to looking after my family full time, and that's basically what I did. And you would think in some respects it takes some tension out of you, but then you start to worry about money, because that's forever an issue, isn't it? Right, anyway, I think that'll do us in terms of decor, so we maybe write something down. Right, so should I fear, wait a minute, better put the date in. What's today's date? Wait a minute, I know Friday's the 23rd. Is this Thursday? It is, isn't it? So this must be the 22nd. So 22nd of August 19. Had a couple of bad days worrying about milk. He saw the doc yesterday and his mind was put at ease. I don't get over things quite that quickly. I mean, that's the problem. I don't bounce back as such. I don't think any of us bounce back. But you cope to some extent. So what I can control, control of external situations with 2 S's. Maybe take that extra S out. isn't easy. Well, it's impossible. But I am determined to not just accept having no control. I will question and fight for my right to party. No, I will question and fight for myself and family when it is needed. Doesn't mean to say I don't find it exceptionally frustrating. I do find it really frustrating that I should have to fight. I think in an ideal world, I don't like that wee gap there, in an ideal world you wouldn't need to have to continually fight. Things should just pan out. People should do what they're employed to do, and life should move a lot smoother than it does. But that's the way of the world, isn't it? Not everything goes quite as easy as it should. Hoping that sticks down. I don't like the fact that should have maybe stuck it down before I put the leaf on it, but it's there now. So there you go, that's that page done. So, nope, put my wee things back in here. We'll see how things go. So I really want to get a haircut. That's a mere side note, that's a bit random. Although I've had a terrible day, but I'd really like to get a haircut. No, I need a haircut, right? I'll tell you this wee story before I go. I got my haircut a couple of weeks ago, and I decided the hairdresser I had been using, who I'd only used her a couple of times, but I really quite liked the girl. That particular salon went on fire. Oh, lucky white heather. And it went on fire when they were in it, so I've got to assume, you know how they've got a fondness for plugging in heated tongs and straighteners and whatever and walking away and just leaving them. I've got to assume something overheated. But the place went on fire and consequently is shut down and has not reopened yet. So I had to find another hairdresser. And I went to one that is quite a wee bit further up the road, but it's quite an expensive one, and it's you know, when you shove the word international in your name, you would think you were paying for some high calibre styling. Anyway, the girl who did my hair, who was very pleasant, but had all the abilities of a roll of sellotape, quite frankly, when it comes to cutting hair. She'd cut my hair and then decided she would thin it out a bit, and it was like watching one of these artists tackle, you know, I can't even remember what it calls it, but modern art, you know, just slapping stuff about. She just suddenly started lopping bits off my hair, and you're sitting watching and you're thinking, I really hope you know what you're doing here. And it looked fine when I left, but see, the next day when I went to wash it and I tried to dry it myself, I became forever conscious of the fact that, quite frankly, the right hand side appeared to be longer than the left hand side, and I actually had to trim wee bits off it to kind of level it up a bit. And that's no easy, believe you me, it really isn't easy. If cutting your own hair was an easy thing, we would all be doing it. Anyway, I managed to straighten it up a wee bit, and I've soldiered on for the past couple of weeks, but I absolutely hate it, and every morning when I go to tackle it, I think, you know, I really can't be doing with this. I really want to get this sorted. There's absolutely no way I'm going back to this girl. So I need to find another hairdresser, and there is somebody else round the corner that I could, within a reasonable walk, that I could try. So I've got a feeling I'm going to make an appointment with her, but there's a big gap between me saying, excuse me saying I'm going to get my hair cut and me actually getting my hair cut. Because even when I've made up my mind, I then deliberate for days when I'm going to get it done. I'd really see. Do you know what the main problem is? See, if I could literally walk in and say, "Could you cut this now?" and they did it, I'd be fine. But I know that I'm going to have to walk in and go, "Could you cut my hair just now?" No, but I can give you an appointment next Tuesday. And I will then spend the next few days worrying about that, because again, this is something I can't control. Her skill level I cannot control, and her skill level in relation to my hair might be entirely different in compared with her skill level in relation to somebody else's hair, because I know what my hair's like. So basically I need a haircut. I don't know when I'll get it done. I know I really want to get it done, I just can't be bothered plucking up the courage to try and get somebody to do it. But we'll see. If you suddenly see some pictures of me and I look incredible, then I've had it done. If you see me and I just look like my usual self, I've not had it done. So anyway, there we go. Right, that's our page for today. We'll see. I might get my hair cut tomorrow if I can work it, or maybe not. I don't know if I'll have enough to say to actually do a junk journal with me. I don't want to do them every day, so I might leave this till next week sometime to see if I've got something to add. But we'll put this in our wee book just now, and to find our middle page. No, that's not it. Where's the middle page? Where's the middle page? Put it in my wee fold, and like that. And that can sit. I'm ready for us for next week. I might even try and tidy this desk a wee bit. Right, so anyway, thanks very much for your time today. Hope I've not bored you. I'll hopefully see you next week sometime, unless something absolutely wonderful happens. Don't hold your breath on that. So most likely I'll see you next week sometime, and we'll see what we've got to talk about then. So thanks very much for your time. See you all later. Bye.